Hello. At a young age, I was given a lot of responsibility in my life. I was my mother's right hand, my father's next in kin, and to my brother with autism, his entire world. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a doctor, to cure autism. But that obviously wasn't my path because I was the only female in my heavy equipment program at Wamoco BOCES, and I was one of the only women in the construction management engineering program at Alfred State College. At Alfred, they prepare you to hit the ground running, and that statement couldn't be more true to this day. Because when my father unexpectedly died at the age of 52, exactly 2 months after I walked that stage at my college graduation, I had to take over the family construction business. That just so happened to be a giant sandbox in my backyard that's called a gravel pit. And it's not what I had planned for my life. But I wouldn't change it for anything in the world because it's made me who I am today. My father's bulldozer taught me how to climb mountains, obstacles, and challenges. And it taught me about real life that a textbook never could. My daily motivation is growing up with autism. My brother has a type of autism that no one talks about. He's not your average Rain Man. He's not a lead character in ABC's new hit TV show. And he's not going to be running the gravel pit anytime soon. He's nonverbal. He can't handle change. He has extreme OCD. And he suffers from something called self-injurious behaviors, which is something he only developed during puberty. But he's also a child stuck in a man's body. He loves to be tickled. He loves watching Disney movies. And he still believes in Santa Claus. This is my brother with autism. And this is reality in a photograph. So we ask the question, what happens when autism grows up? What happens when autism grows up is the biggest thing that our disability community wants everyone to know. In the disability community, when your child transitions out of the school system and enters into the real world, you're losing that support system and no one's there to catch you. So you look for a day program. You look for a work program. You look for a group home. And sometimes those options are few, and they're rare, and they're very selective. So people like my brother, who have high behaviors and many needs, they go on a waiting list. And that is a parent and caregiver's worst nightmare. I'm here to tell the story that my brother fell off that cliff before the program was available to help support him. We waited almost 10 years with no help inside of our home, no day program to look forward to, and there was no group home here, locally, regionally, or across the state. My brother's fate came down to the paperwork in his file. It came down to his diagnosis. While that happened, while we were waiting, my father had died. And it's something my mother and I had to take on all by ourselves. The dream that my father and I shared was to use my education to take the construction business and to develop group homes for people with special needs. And now I have to do that all by myself because this is the reality, that we can't wait any longer. Someone's got to do something. Someone's got to do something about this. So I decided to do something different for once in my life. Because the last thing I wanted to do ever again was to get out of work a 12-hour day on the bulldozer in the gravel pit and come home and be sad and depressed and watching the same exact Disney movie we watched all week. So I decided to take him to a farm for the very first time. It just so happened to be down the street, and it was owned by my uncle, and we were definitely out of our comfort zone. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I took my brother on this beautiful walk along the wide waters of the Erie Canal, and I remember he was fascinated because as the ducks were flying in and they're all splattering and all their beautiful patterns, he was just so mesmerized. Now I'm walking a little farther ahead of him at this point, and I just wanted to look behind, and what I saw was the most beautiful smile. a smile on him because he was so mesmerized about how those sunflowers were so tall and bigger than him and his head. He's seeing the rays of sunshine coming through the field, and he's seeing the wave and the wind blowing these sunflowers around. And at that very moment, I thought, we're in nature's classroom. We're in nature's classroom. And I thought, this has been the best experience ever. He's having no behaviors. He does not have OCD. He's so calm, he's at peace, and so am I. And I thought, I can get used to this. So we continued our walk, our talk about the birds and the bees, literally. And we went and sat down by the Erie Canal, and it was a beautiful sunset in the background, and my brother is still content at that time. So I had to take my phone out, and I had to Google farms for autism, because I can't be the only one that's ever come up with this, right? Right. What I found was a wave of intentional agricultural-style communities across our country that offer a special place for people with disabilities. And as you can see, there is nothing like it in our region, from Albany to Buffalo. This concept has never come here yet this far. So that next day, our lives changed forever. We had hope for the first time in a very long time, and my mother started taking my brother to the farm to go to work. He would do chores in the greenhouse. He would be out harvesting vegetables, and we even played a game with him with bell peppers so that he could toss them and have engagement while he was picking, so he would continue his work. He would cheers his bottled water with the other farmers, so during work time and break time, and they couldn't speak English, so it worked out great because he can't talk either. Had to mention that. And he had true inclusion. So they would thank him with having some vegetables that he could sell at the farm stand. And he was part of the whole experience. He was greeting the customers, he was working the money, dealing with the change, packaging the produce, and even bringing it to people's cars. And at that very moment, we knew that something was so great there. And one day, he made almost $200. That's a lot of Disney movies. So what happened next was my brother was our pilot for our farm. My mother was my partner, and I started developing a business plan for our future, essentially. In total, I visited 15 community farms across our country, from California and back, and each of them have their own culture and concept. And some of my favorites include Bittersweet Farms in Ohio, which is a beautiful original farmstead that serves people with disabilities. And they have a proven therapeutic model that serves people with disabilities through gardening and farming. Then we have Benjamin's Hope, which is located in Michigan. And what they offer is a beautiful housing community. And when I stayed there that evening, my favorite part was watching these kids on their bikes, their trikes, their scooters, their two-seaters, just doing laps in the cul-de-sac at dusk. I've been to Down Home Ranch, which is in rural Texas, and when I say that these individuals with Down syndrome earn their keep on a rural ranch, they do. And then we have the Brookwood community, which is the most beautiful and exciting community because they've got it right. They've been around for almost 60 years, and they have created sustainable business models that provide actual wages for people with disabilities. Here's Chucky, being our pilot, so happy on this farm that I knew I had to do something. So in my travels, I ended up at a conference in Chicago at Misericordia, which is a 30-acre housing community in downtown Chicago, and it was the most amazing experience. I had to have been the luckiest girl in the world at that very moment because I was a very good student and I was sitting very close in the front and sitting next to the only disability-specific funder in the room that everyone wanted to talk to, and he was like right there, right in the front row. So my good deed definitely has paid off. So we started talking, and he says, "How can I help you?" I need to buy a farm. I need to buy a farm to create an intentional community to serve people in my hometown of Rochester, New York. I want to include people of all abilities to provide them a place to be inclusive and sustainable, to truly allow them to learn, work, live, and grow. for people of all abilities. It's not about the tomatoes, sir. It's about growing people. I would like to grow people's unique abilities in nature's classroom. In the September of 2016, with the support of the man that I was sitting next to that I barely knew, who believed in me more than I think I ever believed in myself, he gave me an opportunity so that I could collect parent professionals, like-minded community members, so that we could plant roots on this beautiful 55-acre farm where it all had happened that one day with my brother in a sunflower field. Rochester is now home to the first intentional community that serves people of all abilities. And as you can see, it is the land of opportunity. It is less than 20 minutes from where we are standing right now. It's an excellent proximity to transportation, our education, and our business partners, and it has everything we need to create our full vision for the future. So what happened next? We hit the ground running, because that's what I've been taught to do. In the spring of 2017 and continuing here in 2017, we serve young adults with and without disabilities and provide them a place to truly learn, work, live, and grow. And that's through our program called the Community Farm Experience, where we offer educational classes, vocational training, and social and recreational opportunities. In partnership with parents as partners, our volunteers, and many business owners, we create an individualized approach to each person's learning, a growing plan to allow us to analyze their unique goals and abilities so that we can grow them into the greater community. What we are is a community organization. We are not to be confused with an agency, and currently, as a grassroots initiative, we depend on donations, grants, agritourism on the farm, self-directed programs we run, and affordable memberships. What we're creating every single day to meet the need, because it's thousands of people, is an opportunity in phase 1 to learn, which is creating more spaces in our classrooms, a greenhouse classroom, a market classroom, an estate home with a teaching kitchen, and a large barn for an enterprise center, as well as expanding our gardens and out into the greater property of 55 acres. In phase 2, we're really trying to create more spaces to actually work, and that includes real models for employment that will sustain our organizational mission. That can include the farm market, the general store, the floral shop, the farm-to-table cafe, and as you can see that picture in the bottom, we were told that it would be a great place for a marina and a vineyard. Phase 3 is a place to live. Now, our community already offers the opportunity to provide great relationships and real friends, but what we're trying to create is to give people a place to call home. So that includes a 30-acre housing community that's going to serve people inclusively of all different abilities. And it's something that our community needs right now. And finally, a place to grow. What we want to offer is not just a horizontal learning curve. We want people to go out and have everything that they need to be out and be successful in the greater community. But that also includes a door that's always open to come back. I don't know where I would be without autism. It's like someone gave me a mission in life to be the voice for those that didn't have one. And my brother, Chucky, he's a nonverbal hero. His story is paving the way for a smoother transition for adults in the future. My mother is currently creating her legacy so that no family ever has to walk alone. Through our struggles, we found hope in the absolute darkest hour. But now we're holding a torch so that we can empower others and share these dreams. For the people in this room, I want you to know that you're not alone, that hope is here, and that it's happening. and for my new friends that I get to meet, I want every one of you to think about changing the world. And we might not be able to change it at large, but we can change it right here and now. And I want you to get on your bulldozer. I want you to find your own path. I want you to knock down any fear and self-doubt, and I want you to be able to create your own road, because you never know where you're going to end up. This is my life worth living. Thank you.